Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to our Steelers Wild Card Preview. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with Jay Dash and Big Easy. The Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Browns in Week 17. The Buffalo Bills beat the New York Jets. And we are playoff bound once again.
Yes, thankfully, Ryan Fitzpatrick blew it.
Pretty much. Did you guys know that we have made the playoffs more than any other team since the NFL-AFL merger? 28 times.
Well, I didn't know for a fact, but I would have guessed them if you asked me.
We were currently tied with the Cowboys until we made it, and they did not. So, block you, Dallas.
Well, then they must have been way ahead in the 90s because they haven't made too many playoffs.
Since 97.
Yeah. I mean, they did make it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it a couple times, just not a lot.
They haven't won a playoff game in a very long time.
Probably since they beat us in the Super Bowl.
Maybe.
Well, let's not talk about that right now. What about this game? Going up against the Bengals. The Steelers are 9-2 when they play a team for the third time in a season dating back to 1947, although they did lose to the Ravens last year.
Yeah, and look at this. They are 14-3 at Cincinnati since they opened Paul Brown Stadium.
See, I seen that stat, and I got a little confused because then I looked, and that wasn't their overall record at Cincinnati, so I didn't know if it was at Paul Brown. So thank you for learning me that fact.
Well, actually, since 1991, the Steelers are 21-5 at Cincinnati. They pretty much own Cincy in Cincinnati.
The Steelers are 26-19 all time at Cincinnati and 1-0 against them in the playoffs at Cincinnati.
Yeah, all time they're 57-35 against Cincy. So they pretty much...
Fantastic, thank you.
Yes, they pretty much own Cincinnati.
The stat that hurts, just real quick, back to the Baltimore loss last year. That's what's kind of haunting me right now.
And the defense went into that game playing very good football over the previous 4 games, the last 4 games of the season there. They were playing very well. They went in and did not play well at all. So we really need to see this offense step up, play much better than they have these past 2 weeks. In fact, Big Ben hasn't looked good in a while, and really against his division this year, he hasn't played well. He has 7 touchdowns and 9 interceptions versus the division this season, and 6 of those touchdowns were versus Cleveland.
Yeah, he's 58 for 84 for 544 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 picks against the Bengals this year.
Yeah, not very good at all.
His last 2 games, he's 58 of 70, 564, 3 touchdowns, 4 picks. And 7 of his 16 interceptions this season have come in the last 4 games.
Not looking good. He's trending down.
Right now he is.
Dude sucks.
And we need him to play well because we're obviously not going to win on the ground. I'm not saying we're not going to be able to run the ball a little bit, but I don't see Fitzgerald Toussaint or Jordan Todman going off for $150 or anything.
Well, Cincinnati does a very good job at stopping the run, actually. But if you look, the past 2 times they played, in Week 8, Le'Veon Bell had 45 yards before he got injured in that game, and then Williams came in and had 71 yards rushing on 9 carries. So they got it done in that game on the ground. And then in Week 14, D'Angelo Williams had 2 touchdowns and 76 yards rushing against Cincy. So they ran the ball pretty well. I don't know if it's going to happen this week, like you said, though, with Toussaint and Jordan Todman. I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball as well as they have these past 2 games. And they may need to run if Big Ben doesn't pick his game up.
I could see him running for about 70 yards maybe in this game.
Combined?
Yeah. Somebody on Facebook said we should put Vic in at running back. That made me chuckle.
At running back?
Yeah, at running back.
Well, I'd rather put him in at running back than quarterback.
You're paying him. Let him go. Let him get it and go. Oh, they're going to run the
Wildcat.
Wildcat.
Run wild, brother.
They're going to run the Wildcat on Saturday night.
Maybe they pull that out.
But look,
Let Vic stand back there, catch a direct snap.
The first time these 2 teams played, the Bengals won 16-10, and the offense didn't do too well. Now, the second time they played, the Steelers won 33-20, so you think the offense played great in that game, but really, it was the defense again that set them up. You look, in that second game, on the very first drive, the offense did go 80 yards and score a touchdown. That was their one good drive. In fact, in the first game, they only scored 1 touchdown, and it was the first drive of the game, which was also an 80-yard drive. So there's some similarities there. Hopefully they can do that this week as well. But outside of that, in that second game, there was a Willie Gay pick 6, and then Robert Golden intercepted a pass as well and set the Steelers up at the Cincinnati 16-yard line. So they had 2 80-yard drives and a 16-yard drive offensively against this team in 2 games.
It's brutal.
And Cincinnati's defense is no joke as well. Reggie Nelson has given Ben fits this season.
Reggie.
Yeah, I like that guy, actually.
The Bengals give up just a shade over 17 points a game. We need to score points to win this football game. Are you scared of A.J. McCarron? Does anybody care about him?
Well, if you look, man, A.J. McCarron has more touchdowns against Pittsburgh this season than Ben has against Cincinnati.
Brutal.
So,
Nice.
A.J. McCarron, he's playing winning football. If they can keep this a low-scoring game, I think Cincinnati definitely has a chance in this game. But if Pittsburgh's offense can blow up like we know they can, it might get a little out of hand, because I don't think Cincy's a team that's going to be able to keep up with one of the more high-powered offenses. But that's not what we've seen out of Pittsburgh so far.
Did you see the stat I sent you? I think it was last night. Willie Gay did not allow a touchdown all year long through the air. That's pretty beast. The only corner in the NFL to do that this year. Although on the other side, Antoine Blake gave up the most passing yards for a corner, and I think it was NFL history. So,
yeah, and Willie Gay was playing as the third corner mostly as well.
yeah, a lot of the time.
But for the Cincinnati Bengals offensively, McCarron, he has to play a good game, obviously, but they need to get Giovanni Bernard more involved this time around. The first game, he wasn't involved at all. The second time around, he split time with Hill, but neither one got many touches. I think it was 9 touches each, and Bernard outperformed Hill. I think the Steelers do a good job at stopping Jeremy Hill. He's the type of running back that they can stop. They have a little bit more trouble against speedy guys like Bernard. And I think Cincinnati should go out there and give Bernard the ball more. And, in fact, Tyler Eifert really hasn't done too much against Pittsburgh this season either. Although last time around,
knock on wood.
Yeah, he started off pretty well. He had 2 catches for 42 yards real early, and then you remember he got injured and left the game. But the first game, he didn't do too much either. And we know A.J. Green, if he blows up, it's not a big deal. The Steelers let A.J. Green blow up, and they stop everything else. But if Cincinnati can go out there and get Eifert involved as well, we know Pittsburgh stinks against tight ends. So Tyler Eifert may be the second best tight end in football, and he really hasn't blown up against the Steelers. If he can go out there, A.J. Green does his thing, and Eifert does his thing, that might give the Steelers defense a little bit of trouble.
Eifert missed time this year, and he was still second overall in touchdowns and first for tight ends with 13.
Yeah, he's a beast.
It's like
He's
easy
not
running around the
Gronkowski.
field, but athletic.
He's right behind Gronk, though.
Hit him in the elbow. That'll take him out of the game.
But on the other side of the ball, we got Heath
Well, what's
Miller.
his health? Is he 100%?
Yeah, Tyler Eifert is back, and he's ready to play.
I
And
mean,
they
he's
really
100
need him in this game, because I don't think they're going to get the ground game going too great. They haven't in the first 2 games, and they need something other than A.J. Green to beat this Steelers defense.
What's the biggest problem in the passing game? I know we talked about Ben's struggles a little bit earlier. What about Martavis Bryant and Marcus Wheaton? I know Bryant has had 2 catches for 6 yards over the last 2 games. I'm not
Is it
sure.
2 catches? I thought it was 1.
No, he got credited with a catch for 0 yards against Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure of Wheaton's exact stats, but those 2 guys have really fallen off. I heard somebody, I think it might have been on the Steelers app, like an actual Steeler beat writer, ask if we should start Sammy Coates. Are you kidding me? You take some guy who hasn't really played all year long and then you start him in a playoff game? That's not how you freaking win playoff games. You just play the guys who've been playing and hope that Wheaton and Bryant can step up like they have before. And that's another thing why people keep saying we should sign Ray Rice. You don't sign a guy who hasn't played football in almost 2 years and then insert him into a lineup.
Yeah,
and think
Ben
that he's
Tate
gonna...
last season was a little different because Ben Tate was playing football that season.
Right, yeah. You can't take some guy who just really hasn't played it forever and think that he would be a difference maker. That's stupid.
Well, what's wrong with the receiving core right now? First of all, Big Ben is having trouble, so that hurts your receiving core right there. But
Is he forcing the ball to Antonio Brown?
Well, he definitely was last week. I don't know if he was prior to that. It didn't really seem like it, did it? It just seemed like early last week he was, and it was working out, but he was also throwing some picks. But Antonio Brown, I have all the trust in the world in him. Outside of that, though, I mean, Heath Miller against Cincinnati this season, 20 receptions.
Beast.
So I see Heath Miller getting involved a lot in his game, and maybe Cincinnati's defense focuses a little bit more on Miller in his game and makes the Steelers go to Bryant more often because they know Bryant's struggling a little bit. But really it comes down to Martavis Bryant got to step his game up and have a big game, even if it's 2 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown or something like that. But he definitely has to step his game up, and it is a part of why Ben's struggling as well. You definitely need more than one receiver out there. But Marcus Wheaton, he's doing his thing, I guess. I mean, he didn't have a huge game or anything, but 3 catches, 45 yards, that's what you expect out of him. But the last time around, the Steelers receivers did a pretty good job. Brown had 7 catches. Wheaton had 4 for 65. Bryant had 7 for 49. The first game, it was pretty much just Heath Miller. Even Antonio Brown only had 47 yards in that game. And we seen that Steelers offense didn't do anything that first game. The second time, they got the receivers more involved, and they really need to do that this week. Because we know, like you said before, there's a pretty good possibility we won't have a run game.
It's a shame we lose our running back in the last game of the year again. You know what I mean?
He's still in a boot right now, too, so for him to be able to play Saturday would be pretty
Dude ain't going to go.
miraculous.
Honestly, I thought earlier today, it's better if just let him rest anyway. If we can get past Cincinnati and he has all this time off and can come back healthy against Denver potentially, that would be nice. You know what I mean? Don't let him risk it now for.
I understand where you're coming from, man, but I think I said the same thing last season about Le'Veon Bell because there was a possibility Bell came back for the second playoff game, and I was like, don't worry about it. We'll go out, beat Baltimore, and let Le'Veon Bell come back for that second game. And there was never a second game because we needed Le'Veon Bell in that game.
Did they learn from that, though? Did they learn because they didn't really game plan with, to be without Le'Veon. They tried to do the same thing they had done all year long, and that didn't work. So are the Steelers going to come out with a better game plan this week and realize that they're not going to be able to run the ball well?
Well, I'll tell you what, if they don't come out with a better game plan than they had in Baltimore, they're going to lose this game. They're going to get blown out because, do you remember that game?
I do.
That was a terrible game from the coaches, from the players, from everyone, both sides of the ball. If they don't come out with a better game plan than they had in that game, there's no reason to even do this segment.
Is the Bengals rivalry better than the Ravens rivalry? After the last game, I've seen 2 numbers, $138,000 and $147,000 in fines after the last time the Steelers and Bengals played. You got Marcus Gilbert going on Twitter saying all he wants for Christmas is another game against the Bengals where they choke. Will Allen says they beat us sometimes, but we beat them a lot. I mean, these guys are blowing up Twitter. Burfict's talking smack on the Steelers. I don't know exactly what he said. But this is heated, man. This is where it's at right now. Steelers-Bengals, best rivalry in the AFC.
Yeah, and you're talking about D'Angelo Williams easy and how we're going to be missing him for this game. But the Bengals have problems as well. I mean, they don't have their starting quarterback, obviously. They got to run with their backup. But every team in the playoffs, it seems like, has a lot of questions right now. Maybe outside of, even Carolina, they lost Tillman just recently. So every team has their problems right now. Look at New England. They haven't won a game in a while.
Yeah. No, they're a little bit beat up. But it does. It scares me, though. And we're favorites, right?
Yeah.
Favored by 3 points right now, 2.5 some places.
That scares me, too.
I didn't think we'd be favored, even with A.J. McCarron, just because our pass defense has been bad.
Yeah, the pass defense has been bad, and our offense has been struggling mightily. But I figured it more around even, to tell you the truth. Even whether Dalton played or not, because even if Dalton came back, he hasn't played football in a while, you know what I mean? At least Peyton Manning for Denver got a half in at the end of the season there, and he looked pretty good. So Denver has a little bit of hope with Peyton Manning. If Dalton comes back, you don't know what you're going to get out of him.
Agreed. If he doesn't practice, he won't play. Marvin Lewis said that Dalton could dress as the backup, but it's doubtful if he doesn't practice. He didn't practice today. If he doesn't practice you would normally think Thursday, because usually it's Friday for Sunday, but they're playing Saturday. So if he doesn't practice on Thursday, I doubt you'll see Andy Dalton at all. It'd be stupid to dress him, honestly, if he can't really play. If he can't start, just let him sit.
Yeah, I know the offense hasn't looked the same with A.J. McCarron, but he's been playing winning football, and he hasn't been terrible. He has 6 touchdowns compared to 2 interceptions since he came in at quarterback, and that's not that terrible.
What do you think the people in Cincinnati are thinking right now?
They're going to blow us out.
Is that what, really?
I mean, that's what Facebook's pretty much saying.
Blow us out, really?
All social media Bengals fans think they're just going to roll right over us because Big Ben's played poorly against them and poorly the last few games. And our defense gets absolutely no respect from anybody outside of Pittsburgh. If you don't watch every Steeler game and watch the defense play, statistically, they don't look great.
Yeah.
So you might think that they're not good, but we've seen it. We can see what they do in the red zone and getting takeaways. So, yeah, Bengals fans just think they're going to roll over us.
Well, I don't see it that way.
I mean, I don't think either team's really going to roll over the other one.
I think it's going to be a real close game now. Yeah. Jim, you said yesterday that you think it's going to be more high scoring. I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring since the way Big Ben has been playing, the way he's played against the division this season.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a little bit more low scoring. And that does scare me a little bit because even though the defense has been great for us this season, we've been talking up the defense all season long. They do get beat by the pass, and that they have their bad moments as well. We've seen it this season, and it's hard to want to trust them when you have all these elite players on the offensive side, and you're almost relying more on your defense at this point, aren't you?
Yeah. They didn't even give up 20 points a game this year.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
No shit.
Yeah.
19.9. That ain't 20.
Okay.
Hey, still 19.9 points per game is not bad at all. And the
You
Bengals,
should be able to win every football game with our offense.
Not giving up less than 3
points.
touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
come
look,
on.
the Bengals have gotten to Ben Roethlisberger 5 times this season in 2 games. And I'm talking about sacks, while the Steelers have gotten to either Andy Dalton or A.J. McCarron 6 times. So it's pretty even there. But the way the Steelers came out and played last week, I'm hopeful, not that they can repeat that performance because Austin Davis is terrible. But A.J. McCarron, he's not very experienced either. So maybe Pittsburgh's defense can get to him often in this game.
Or either of you going to the pep rally in the courthouse courtyard on Friday.
You're dead wrong.
Friday.
Friday at noon.
Nah, I'm working.
We come from the town with a great football team.
I started partying Sunday at 4:00, but I mean, it's been all week for me. It's not only one day for a pep rally. It's been all week long. Let's get it.
So what's your key to victory, Dash?
Well, I'm going to go with an offensive and defensive key to victory this week. Offensively, obviously, we're not expecting much out of the run, and Ben has been playing bad. In fact, the past couple weeks, my key to victory was Big Ben got to use all his receivers and get this offense moving like we want it to move, and it just hasn't been happening. So I'm going to keep it the same offensively and say Big Ben got to get his crap together. Don't call out Martavis Bryant. Go out there and throw 3 touchdowns yourself and hold on to the ball. Don't commit turnovers. Go play a good game the way that we know you can play. And defensively, I think they'll do a good job against the run. So just go out there and make A.J. McCarron beat you.
I think that I agree that Ben's got to play better, but I think if the receivers start to play better, you'll also see Ben playing better. I think Wheaton and Bryant need to step up and play the way they were in that 6-game span where we were scoring 30 points or more, especially Martavis Bryant. We really need him to be a difference maker in the offense. A couple weeks ago, we went over it. The Steelers were somewhere around 4th in the league or 2nd in the league in scoring plays of 20-plus yards or just plays of 20-plus yards in general. We're a big play offense. We're not a methodical, pick-you-apart 1, 5, 10-yard play. We get big plays. We score quick. We got to do that. That's what the receivers just got to get open. And then defensively, it's so cliche, and I say that so many times, just get a turnover. Get 1 or 2 turnovers, and I think we should be able to win this game. A.J. McCarron, like you said, he's not experienced. If you can get up a couple points on this guy early in the game, I think he'll start to press and the defense will be able to get more turnovers. If you could shut down Jeremy Hill and Gio and force A.J. McCarron to beat you, that's definitely the way to beat Cincinnati right now.
Well, from what I've seen out of this offense, the first 2 times these 2 teams played, and the way the defense played, that's exactly what you need is a couple turnovers, because that's when Pittsburgh was scoring their points against Cincinnati, is when that defense put them in a short field position.
What about you, Easy?
Key to victory.
Key to victory.
Ben Roethlisberger has to have 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. It's as simple as that.
Keep those picks down.
No picks. No, you have to.
0.
He has to have about. Ben Roethlisberger's line has to be.
It was high against
30 for 40, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then we win the football game.
That would be by far his best game against Cincy this season.
That's how we win.
Believe it. Well, what's your official prediction, Dash?
I'm going to say the Steelers pull this one out, but it's going to be a close game. In fact, the Cincinnati may be up late in this game, and it's going to take a Big Ben drive, which we've seen him fail on a couple times this season late in the game. I think he's going to do it this time, and the Steelers win 21-17.
Low scoring. I think it's going to go the other way. I think both teams' offenses are going to be able to move the football, especially early in the football game. I think the Steelers get points at the end of the first half like they usually do, and I think Big Ben actually does come up with some big plays in the 4th quarter this week, and I think the Steelers win 33-24. Is that what I said on the pick show?
I don't know.
I got to stick somewhere around it. You can't have 2 completely different predictions.
Whatever. Then if
Gosh.
one happens, you'll be like, look, I was right.
That's right. And just forget about the one I was wrong on.
I'm going to do spread solo here.
Uh-oh.
Bengals 24-20.
Oh, no.
Steelers shouldn't even be in the playoffs, number one. They never should have lost to Baltimore. And we were talking about a Baltimore loss. I don't know if you were talking about 2 weeks ago or last year in the playoffs. It's the same thing. There's just not something right with them. They should have steamrolled Baltimore. They should have steamrolled Cleveland. I mean, I guess they kind of did.
Cleveland's so bad they still steamrolled them and played like crap.
Yeah, so they should have they never should have lost to Baltimore. They should have steamrolled in and had momentum. And before those couple games, everyone said we were the team to beat in the AFC. You know, we're the most dangerous team in the AFC. I don't see that now. It's simply because of one loss to a team that only had ended up with 4 or 5 wins? 5 wins?
2 of them against Pittsburgh.
And 2 of them were against us. So it's just, there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with Haley. Tomlin is out of his mind. They're just, it's not.
Are you done with Tomlin? Would you like to get rid of Tomlin after this season? Say they lose this game. Are you done with Tomlin easy?
No, I'm done with Haley. If they lose this game, I'm done with Haley.
I'm done with Haley
because
if they win this game 90-0.
Yeah. I already have the offensive game plan in my head right now. I got it all. I know exactly what they should do to win this football game, and it's what they've been doing all year. We've seen them do it all year long, but for some reason it hasn't happened. And yeah, Roethlisberger's been throwing picks and he's been garbage lately, but yeah, if they don't win this game, Haley's out. And how they win is with Roethlisberger. It's as simple as that. Our defense is good enough to stop A.J. McCarron, please.
Yeah.
Especially since we can stop the run most times, you know what I mean? Going and making a quarterback that really hasn't had any playing time in the NFL outside of a couple games go in and beat a team that's been in the playoffs more than anyone.
My heart's been broken all year. Pirates, garbage, you know, just all kind of sports has been garbage lately. And you know, we made it in and that was a miracle. We had a good time and I've been, you know, I'm ready all week long, but I just don't have a good feeling about it.
What percentage chance do you give the Steelers to win the Super Bowl? Obviously, Easy's is 0 because he thinks they're going to lose this week.
Well, there's 12 teams in. For every team, it's a small percentage. So, I don't know, 12%?
I give them about 30% chance.
30%?
Yeah, I mean, these other teams don't have great quarterbacks. We've talked about it before. Brady's the best quarterback in the AFC. Manning, I mean, he's been shooting HGH into his forehead. I don't know if that's going to help his arm any. He hasn't played a whole lot this year. I'm just not really scared of any of the teams other than New England, honestly. I think Pittsburgh can beat any of the teams, but if we had to go play in Foxborough, we all know
it sucks. Like I said,
happen.
Every single team has their problems right now, but the Steelers' problem is their elite quarterback right now.
Hopefully he can be elite again. At least they have an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
Make some play calls, though. I don't know. It's got to be combined.
Where did the no huddle go?
Yeah, where'd the no huddle go? Where'd hurry up offense go?
I haven't seen a lot of it the last couple
No
weeks.
trick plays, ever.
Well, I mean, I love trick plays. I loved when Ken Wisenhunt was here, but when Todd Haley runs a trick play, it's terrible.
-10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no trick plays. I see why they're not running trick plays.
He runs a Martavis Bryant end around on 3rd and 24.
Will you see the Wildcat, yes or no? No? In any form, with anybody.
I wouldn't think so, as long as Big Ben is healthy. You want him in there on every play, man.
We're not going to do nothing crazy.
I wouldn't think so, especially since we have no running backs right now. I mean, who are you going to put in for this play?
Yeah.
As long as the running backs can block on 3rd down, I think we could still win this football game.
Well, that's
that should
what
have
they were
been
saying
part of my
about
key to victory.
Croissant. They said he could block.
Oh, no, Big Ben, step his game up. Martavis Bryant, step his game up.
Believe
I
it.
mean, it got so bad last week. Darius Heyward-Bay was the one that was being hit deep and going for deep. So Martavis got to step his game up. Big Ben's right, but I just don't like Big Ben calling someone out when he's playing terribly.
Yeah, good move. I agree with that.
I heard Bryant said that he welcomed the wake-up call and he's
he
ready
did.
to play.
I mean, they don't hate each other over it or anything. We each said worse to each other.
Grown men have words.
Good luck, Steelers.
Believe it. Good luck, Steelers. Good luck, Steeler fans. Fans, any questions or comments, hit us up at bet_the_spread. Hit me up at betjimthewin. Check out the Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread and keep coming back to YouTube and clicking subscribe. Go Steelers. Win that freaking Super Bowl.